Scary Saturdays. Let me put this a little bit down. So today, I'm by myself, but that's okay. Miss Dinkle had to do some other things. She had to do some adulting stuff. So today we are going to talk about the Villisca Ax house. This one, because I was gonna be doing today's podcast by myself, I figured, you know what, let's do one that's, infamous for its, the crime and the horror behind it. So, it like, as of recording right now, it is so hot outside. That's the true crime and that's the true spookiness of things. But yeah, I mean, since the last one, I haven't experienced anything spooky or scary. Actually, no, there's been a lot of cops. Okay. So, I won't give away too many details, but I did have to call the cops because, I saw this, like, okay, so there's, like, this lady right across the street where I was at, and I like, hear, like, some screaming, some commotion, and, like, I'm inside, and it's, like, usually there has to be, like, a blaring car or something for me to, like, hear something, and I even have, like, one headphone in, so this lady's, like, screaming, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm thinking, like, people are just, like, being loud or whatever. It's a Friday night, so I'm thinking, okay, yeah, maybe some people are just, like, out here partying and stuff. And then when I look out the window, there is this couple. I don't know if they're a couple. There's just, like, this dude and this lady, right? And I was just like, okay, kind of weird that she's even, like, out here at like, this time with this dude, and, like, I can't really see them too far because they're, like, hidden, like, back enough to where, like, the light, like, the street light won't really hit them. And I didn't think too much of it. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, weird that she's, like, screaming and screaming, whatever. Maybe she's just, like, really, like, drunk or whatever, and she's, like, really, like, I don't know. She was on something, but I didn't really think that she was in any danger until I kept on seeing the guy, because, like, he kept on, like, trying to, like, I don't know, like, he put hands on her. That was my whole thing. And she kept on trying, like, to push him away. She, like, stumbled over and stuff. And I mean, I'm, like, playing Fort with Purple Squad, like Jake and Dave and John, and I'm like, that's I'm like, sorry guys, like, I'm getting distracted. Like, there's, like, people in front of my house, just, like, causing commotion, and Jake goes, no, you're fine, dude, like, go check it out, whatever. And I was like, okay, and I'm, like, staring out the window, and I even, like, open up the door to go see what's going on, and I still can't see them. They're, like, it's, like, really dark out. I can't really see them. They're, like, tucked away in a corner to where the light doesn't hit them enough in order for me to, like, get, like, a full visual on them. And something, like, I had a gut feeling, like, something was clicking. I was like, this is for sure definitely not something that I feel like is right. Like, I can't really explain it. Just something felt off. And so I decided to call, not 911, I called non-emergency. And, I was, like, talking to them, and, like, the operator lady was on the phone with me. She asked for, like, descriptions, like, my information. And then, as I'm, like, talking to her, she's already, like, having dispatch come out, whatever, the cops are coming. And I start, like, seeing that she's like, they're, like, moving over to a hotel that's nearby, and they're, like, causing more of a commotion, but, like, the guy's, like, really, like, walking towards her, but keeps on trying to corner her. And once I saw, like, him cornering her, I was like, and, like, I told the lady, I was like, yo, he's, like, cornering him, and, like, I see the cops coming and stuff. And before, like, the cops even get to that area, like, I see them coming down the street, and before they even get to that area, I, like, see her, like, push him out of the way, and she starts, like, booking it towards, like, the hotel's parking lot. And the guy just like walks away. I don't know if he was drunk too or whatever. I gave the description to the operator, what it looked like, and he's like walking on by and then just goes into the lobby of the hotel, and she just like ran, like she like ran far, and she like disappeared into the like the cars in the parking lot, and I'm still looking at them to like make sure like is she okay? Did she not like stumble and fall? Like where's this guy going? I'm still on the phone with the operator, and she's like, okay, they're there. You have a great night. I'm like, okay, bye. And it's two cop cars. They show up. Um, the guy, I don't know where he went. He went into the lobby, and the lady, she's just like gone. And then like 2 minutes later, she comes back walking, and she like goes behind the two cop cars that are like at the foot of like the entrance to the hotel, and she walks past them, and like she walks like maybe like a minute away from them, and she thinks about it, and because she starts to like slow down, and so it looks like she's thinking about it, and then she comes back, and then she starts like approaching the cop car, and so when I see that she actually gets close enough to the car and like the guy's not around, and that's like when I'm like, okay, I guess she found one of the cops in the car, so I'm like, okay, she's talking to the police, she's safe now, if anything happens, the cops are right there, and I just left it at that. But like I don't know, like something really like, especially after the stuff that like Cam and I have been talking about like in the pod and stuff like that, like something really just like triggered in me where I was just like, I don't know, this is smelling a little bit funky. So I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and actually just let me call the cops right quick. I don't want to have no what's it called, the weeping killer on my hands. Maybe girl got like coming home from the bar, she's trying to go to a hotel room or trying to go home or whatever the hell she's trying to go, and some guy just decided to go ahead and like follow her. So you know but yeah, so that happened. After that, I don't know, they just like disappeared, they left. uh it was I don't know, it was just like kind of like strange. But that's all basically what happened to me. That was the only thing really related to the pod that really happened, or whatever. Um, but yeah, let's get right into the Villisca Ax house. So this one right here, the picture that you're seeing, is the actual house. It is not what it looks like currently. It looks a whole lot nicer. They like renovated it a whole bunch of times. So that is not what it looks like now. Um, so this house was made like in the 1800s, and it was like, oh, trying to fix the music so it's not too loud. But yeah, like this house was not that's not what it looks like now. Sorry, I'm messing with stuff. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So, there, and as always with these kind of things, disclaimer. On this podcast, we do talk about certain things and topics that have to do with murders and deaths and the spooky and scary things. They, if you're triggered by it, if you don't feel comfortable watching it, if you feel like you're not in the right headspace, please do not watch this. Watch at your own discretion. And with that, let's officially get right into it. So, on June 9th, 1912, Josiah Moore and his family would be coming back from church with Lena and Ina Stillinger, two friends of their daughter, Catherine. So they were going to like a child's event, like at their church, that the wife of Josiah actually, I think her name was Sarah Moore. She was the one that put on the event for like the kids and stuff, but it happened later on at night, and so like around like 8, and ended it around like I think they said either like 10 or 11. Um, and the the two girls that were friends with Catherine, the Moore's daughter, they didn't want to go ahead and walk home alone in the dark, which I mean, understandable. Two little girls don't want to go walking in the dark. So she was like, "Oh, just come over to our place, and you can have a sleepover with Catherine." And so they get home. Josiah actually tries to call the parents, but it's the oldest sister that answers, and the oldest sister tells them that they're not home right now, but she'll pass along the message. And so he's like, all right, fine, as long as they know that, the girls are over at our house, we just came back from church or whatever. And okay, cool, done. And the next morning, June 10th, 1912, the Moore's neighbor, Mary Peckham, she was doing her laundry at like around like 5, and then like at 7, she noticed that her neighbor's place was like a little too quiet. So she went to go knock on their door, but like nobody answered, and she was trying this for like a while. She was like trying to like see, but like the blinds and everything were like shut, so she couldn't even see. She started like to hear like the horses, like started to like freak out and stuff. They weren't like attended, and it's like uh, when you're living in like a small place like that, this is also in Iowa. I forgot to mention that it's in Iowa, and I mean their population was like very very small, and so it's like if you're like your neighbor and it's like she's like up at 5, all right, doing chores, and for about like 2 hours, like she's like, why is no one coming out to like do their chores, do their regular stuff? That's a little weird. And for like, from my understanding, like small town living and stuff like that, it's like everybody knows everybody, like everybody's like more like a close knit kind of thing. And I don't know, like I would be a little bit like sketchy about it too, be like, oh, that's a little weird. My neighbors aren't out doing their regular things. It's like no one's come out of the house, like at 7 or something, and it's like, especially like if you like see somebody like go to work and stuff like that, like that's a little odd, that's a little strange, and not tending to like their animals and things like that. Like if you have a pet or anything, that they like having a pet like on a like an eating schedule, and like or just having them on a schedule is like so like crucial and stuff. Like I can't really like imagine what it's like for like farm animals. It's like you have to be like on time for those kinds of things. So, kind of sketchy, kind of weird that her neighbors weren't out, and especially having kids and things like that. Like kids not going to school or kids are not coming out to do their like regular stuff. That's a little weird. Um, so she went to go check up on them, and nothing. She tried to open the door. Door was locked, and so she thinks, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna just call, Josiah's brother, Ross Moore." And so, uh, when she went to go call him, he came over later. Like, I think it took him like 30 minutes to actually get to their house, and he has a spare key to their house. When they got into the house and opened it, they found a really like horrible sight. Um, and these ones are actually um, so the one on the right here, the top right, that is uh Josiah Moore. The left is his wife, Sarah Moore. And then the four at the bottom, those are their kids. The little girl in the middle between the two boys, that's Catherine Moore. And then these two here are the Sillinger sisters, the ones at the very bottom. So these were the two sisters that came home with them for the sleepover after church. And uh, so when they went inside the house, uh, he opened the guest room, which is on the bottom floor, and he ended up finding the two Stillinger sisters murdered, like blood splattered all over the room. Um, According to Ross, he says that their heads were chopped open with an axe. That's something that he said himself in the report when they came over to investigate it. Um, in the In the parents' upstairs bedroom, Josiah was reported being the only victim to get hit with the sharp end of the axe, and the rest of them were murdered with a blunt end of the axe in a similar manner. So a lot of them were, I'm not gonna go into like the detail because it's very gruesome. If you want to go ahead and like do your own little research on what's going on with them and stuff, uh, do at your own, at your own cost or whatever. Uh, when I was looking at it, I don't know, I felt kind of bad and stuff, just like even reading it because like, dude, like these are kids, like it's just like a horrible thing that happened. Um, with Sarah though, it was reported that uh her like so from her lower jaw up, the blunt end of the axe like it was bashed into her head to where there was like skull fragments and brain matter splattered at the head of the bed. Um, and in that bedroom, which I will show you now. So this is their bedroom. Uh, Josiah was sleeping on the left. Sarah was sleeping on the right. Um, so Josiah was the only one that had like this like fully disfigurement from like gashes and slashes from his face, and then Sarah was the one that had like her jaw all the way up, just like bashed in. And in this mirror here, you see that there's a cloth over it. That's because it was left like that. So it was reported that maybe the murderer was, as he was doing the act, because he came twice into their room, to just like, I don't know, just do unspeakable things to them. And I guess the second time he did it, he ended up covering the mirror because behind that sheet on the wall, next to the shoes and on the counter, there was like a mirror, and he ended up covering it with a sheet. Some people think that he ended up covering it because he felt some type of remorse or something that like something bad for realizing what he's done. Um, the other thing that happened. Oh, I have a picture of the kids' room. So this is the Sillinger room. These are where the two girls, the two sisters, that came home with the Moore family after church. This is where they are sleeping. Uh, this is from the bottom floor, and this is also where, strangely enough, there is a piece of bacon that was wrapped in like some cloth was left there as well, which is also like a weird thing that happened. Um, and after all the victims were murdered, the killer covered their faces with clothing and or bedding. He ended up just like you know doing all those things to this poor family, and then afterwards, just like in the bedroom, with that cloth and stuff, he ended up covering their faces with either some cloth that was laying around or some piece of like the bed or something like that. He just ended up covering their faces with it and leaving their dead bodies like that. Before he left, he actually made himself some food and he ate. And there's also like it looks like he just like did something, like got himself like some breakfast and then left. Just skedaddle skedoodle, locked the door, because he ended up finding it was cash, a check, and some keys left on Josiah's body. So the keys, he ended up grabbing them, and he locked the door and left. This is also an unsolved mystery. So in reality, we don't even know who did this. Dumbest thing that happened though was the town marshal decided to come, and like after Ross like phoned somebody, was like, oh, get the marshal. They came, and the dumbest thing, the marshal decided to go ahead and have the axe that was just laying there by the parents' bedroom, like by the room. He was just like, all right, we're gonna like the everybody in the town found out about this, like everyone heard about it and stuff, and people came and like gossip and news and everything like that just like spread all over the place. Like I said, it's a small population of people, so people ended up knowing about it and ended up coming to like see what happened, like see the tragedy of what happened to their like what happened to their town. And the marshal was like, okay, I need everybody to go ahead and like swing the axe. It's like, what? It's like, are you stupid? Like literally contaminating the evidence. He just decided, okay, well, no, we're gonna try and like get the bottom of this. I need everyone to just touch the murder weapon and swing it. And it's like, do you really think the murderer is gonna be dumb enough to be like, oh yeah, let me show off my axe swinging skills. Let me show you how it's done. It's like, are you absolutely out of your goddamn mind? It's like that's so stupid. Um, but like afterwards, like in the reports, I think it was Lena. Yeah, Lena. Uh, one of the Stillinger children. She was on the left side. She was sleeping on the left side. Her sister, Ina, was on the right side. Um, she was the only one that was reported actually seeing some type of struggle. So the rest of the kids were actually asleep. They slept through everything that happened in during the murders and stuff inside the house. And I guess she's the only one that actually was awake or woke up and saw something happen, because she had her arm trying to like cover her face, trying to like to shield her face, and there's like a wound on her arm, on her forearm, that made it look like the axe nicked her. Um, and it was like it just showed like sign shows her struggles, and don't quote me on this, but I think I read somewhere where it says like um people who like cover their face like while there's like an incident happening and stuff is because they know the person who is doing the crime or like committing like the murder like on a personal level. So maybe a lot of people think that maybe it was somebody who was related to them, or maybe like a friend, or I even read in one article that it could have been somebody from like their church and stuff. Like I said, small town, I mean, really, there's like a lot of people that I mean, it's still like a lot of suspects to like think of like a whole town, but it's always somebody who's close to the family, um, especially the fact that they went like I don't know if it's just because they were like on the first floor or whatever, but definitely had a grudge against the parents, Josiah and Sarah Moore, because it's like they went back a second time to their room to do more things to their already dead body. So definitely there has to be like some type of grudge there. Moving on to the spookier things. This is also the newspaper of what happened there. So on the left here you see a depiction of Josiah Moore, and on the right you see a depiction of Sarah Moore. And this is the article that was of the Villisca town, Villisca, Iowa. So a lot of people, ghost hunters and stuff. There have been a lot of people. I think there's even like two movies on this place. Um, I know. What is it? Ghost Hunters, and basically all these ghost shows have already done like a thing on them. So a lot of them have been reporting like sounds of children. If you look back into the room with the Sillinger children, a lot of EVP sessions have been going on there. For those of you who don't know, EVP is where you have a recording device and you try to pick up some type of voice when asking questions or things of that manner. Others have gotten spirit box response. Spirit box responses are where you have a radio that channels through different channels at like very very like fast, and they try to see like a very clear response to their questions that they have. Actually, one of the people who worked at the house after it got like renovated and got bought out and stuff, his name was Johnny Hauser, or John Hauser, a caretaker for the house. He says that he was a skeptic, while even still working there and stuff, before working there, And he says that he was in the kids' room and he locked the kitchen so no one can get in. But he ended up hearing footsteps, and he thought, oh, someone is trespassing. So he decided to go ahead and play a prank on them for trespassing. And he decides to hide in the kids' room upstairs. It's not this one. This one's the Sillinger's room. This is the guest bedroom. So it was upstairs, close to the parents' room that they were at. So it was the other kids' room. He ends up hiding in their closet, and he ends up hearing, footsteps coming up, and he goes into the room of where they were at, where he was at, and he decides to kick open the door and jump out screaming to try and scare the trespasser. And to his surprise, nobody was there. And even said that once he found out that nobody was there, like, at all, like it like all the wind came out of him, and he was just like so scared because like nobody was there, but he heard clear footsteps walk into that room, and that's what he thought, that people were like, or someone was trespassing, and it turns out nobody was there. There was a whole bunch of other reports of, like, children talking to people trying to do like EVP sessions. They've heard voices of people. They've also heard a lot of like footsteps that kind of just roam around um, the the whole entire house, and it kind of from like my understanding, I guess it walks in a pattern because it goes from the first floor and makes its way up, down, and then up one more time before the steps aren't heard anymore. Which is the exact same pattern that the murderer did for as he was committing the murders. Um, there has also been reports of people being able to hear Sarah Moore, Josiah's wife, talk to them, or even the children. If you have like the flashlight, when told to press the flashlight for a yes or no, immediate responses have been reported as well. So you know, a lot of paranormal activity on this one as well. I just think it's very scary on and just tragic that whatever happened to like this whole family and stuff. And not only that, it's like to have your brother and your neighbor to come and find like your body's just all like just messed up at after like literally the day right after church and stuff like that. That's that's definitely daunting. um that's definitely just something like creepy. Like I said, this is an unsolved mystery in itself, so we really don't even know like who did it, why they did it, no motives or anything like that. There's suspects and stuff. We're not going to touch base on it on this podcast, but if you'd like to go ahead and do your own research, you are more than welcome to. A really good video that I recommend if you guys want to like see more of this or get more into detail is on BuzzFeed's Unsolved channel. They did a video on this. Ryan and Shane, absolutely love them. I watch them, um, and they do. I don't know, the way that they do ghost hunting is very comical, but at the same sense, the crime aspects of stuff that they do is really really well done. Ryan putting stuff like all this stuff together is really great, and like I always feel like Shane's skepticism brings like a nice balance to things. So, you know, even if you're a skeptic and don't really believe in the whole like spooky side of things, like where it's like the ghosts and things like that, like the crime that happened in this house was definitely something that's still like a tragic thing. So now for like our recap, uh, house is haunted. Small town living is scary. Um, if something does go wrong, it's always somebody who is close to you, somebody who is in your family, somebody don't make enemies at all. Be nice to people so that way they don't axe you in the face. And uh, you know, oh, my question is why the bacon? I have not found anything on that. If you know why the bacon is there, or any theories of why the murderer ended up wrapping bacon and just like gently putting it on the floor, leave a comment. Leave a comment down below. Why do you think that is? Because that still kind of puzzles me. Like, I can get behind like, oh, maybe it was like a revenge type of thing, or maybe like this person had like some demons on them or something to like murder them. But like, why the bacon? What? Like, I mean, they literally made themselves breakfast before they left, and this was like an early morning kind of thing, or like an overnight kind of thing, and but they like made themselves food and left. Like, why the bacon? So, you know, there's that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's podcast. It was a lot of fun. Next week, Ms. Ma'am will be here for the podcast. We have something very spooky in store. I did both, so if anything, next week we're just gonna go back to our regular things. Last episode I did the spooky side of things. Today I kind of did both, but we're gonna keep on going where it's like we switch off back and forth and stuff like that. All that kind of stuff. And I also do have some plans for when the spooky season comes around. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, follow me on all my socials at the Gum Card on anything. I'm on Threader. Threads. I don't know. Valkyrie said that they're called Fredders. Freds, Threads. Yeah, that's what they're called. Freds. I'm on there. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. Twitter's gonna die, so I'm not on there. I never really had a Twitter, so there's that. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. And as always, stay spooky and stay safe. Bye.